Dave, can we get a nollie on that second case?
Yes, ma'am.
Good morning, Mr. Sheriff.
Morning, sir.
How's jail?
I don't like it.
You know, you failed to appear 2, if not 3 times for these cases. Listen,
Okay, I'm sorry.
all I'm trying to tell you is that when you appear for court, good things happen. We have such reasonable prosecutors here. All you have to do is show up, and 9 times out of 10, good things happen. But when you fail to appear repeatedly, you now are deemed a flight risk. This is what happens. You need to understand one more thing. As a result of what we're doing today, from now on, you are facing a minimum of 30 days in jail for any new cases that you pick up here. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
You're charged with 2 cases. You're charged with terroristic threat of a family or household member. You're also charged with criminal mischief. The plea bargain agreement you have worked out, they're going to dismiss the criminal mischief. They're also going to reduce your terroristic threat to a Class B. So now you're facing only 180 days and or a $2,000 fine. $2,000 fine. You've worked out an agreement. They're offering you 13 days in jail with credit for the 13 days that you have done. By pleading guilty, like I said, this will reflect as a conviction. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
You're giving up a lot of rights by entering into this agreement. You give up the right to a trial, right to compel witnesses to testify on your behalf, confront and cross-examine your accusers. If you're not a citizen, you can be deported, excluded from the country, denied naturalization. You give up the right to appeal. Once you plead guilty, you can never change it. Is this what you want to do?
Yes,
How do you plead to the terroristic threat? Guilty or not guilty?
guilty.
I'm going to find you guilty. I'm going to withhold, or I'm going to find you guilty, send it you to the agreement. The only other thing I'm going to tell you is that whatever you did to pick up these cases, I would be very careful, because if you continue with the same course of conduct, it's very possible they charge you with a more serious offense. All right?
Yes, sir.
Good luck, sir. And next time, show up. All right.
Good luck.
Take care. You are Javier Guevara.
Yes.
Mr. Guevara, you're charged with driving while intoxicated. You're facing up to 6 months in jail and or a $2,000 fine. You have worked out an agreement where they're offering you 3 days in jail with credit for the 2 days that you have done. You need to understand that you're making a lifetime decision today where this DWI will be going on your record. It will be there for the rest of your life. It's even there after you die. This is important because if you get pulled over in the future, the first thing an officer does is they look at your record. And if they see that you have a prior DWI and they go to your window and they smell alcohol or they smell anything funky, it's probably not going to go well for you. And what we're doing today, from now on, you're facing a minimum of 30 days in jail. Do you understand?
Yes.
Even if you have a sip of alcohol, I wouldn't get into a car because it is a humongous risk. Giving up the right to a trial, right to compel witnesses to testify on your behalf, confront and cross-examine your accusers. If you're not a citizen, there are possible probation consequences. You can be deported, excluded from the country, denied naturalization. Under federal law, you give up the right to appeal. That's why I said, once you plead guilty, it goes on your record, it will be there forever. Knowing all this, do you still want to do this?
No. Sabiendo todo, quiere seguir. Viendo toda la información que le dio, pues quiere seguir. Yes.
Speak to the offense of driving while intoxicated, guilty or not guilty.
Guilty.
One more thing you need to understand, Mr. Guevara. DWI is big business in Texas. There is a $3,000 surcharge that would normally apply to you now as a result of you pleading guilty. And if you don't pay it, every $100 you owe, you sit 1 day in jail. I will waive that for you now because we all make mistakes. But I'm telling you now, if you continue to make mistakes where you endanger my public, the next DWI, it is a $6,000 surcharge. And like I said, if you don't pay it, $100 that you owe, you sit 1 day in jail. Do you understand? If you want to get lit, take an Uber. I'm going to suspend your license for 90 days. Do not drive until you get a license. Good luck to you, Mr.
Una
Yamamoto.
licencia de conducir.
Starting with the state.
John Davenport, City, Your Honor. Jose Ceja for Mr. Alfaro.
Okay. Are you in on this as well?
I'll tell you. Blake jurisdiction on behalf of the state of Texas, Your Honor.
Got it. Okay. So for purposes of the record, we are here. Today is set for a dispositive motion to suppress on this DWI second. We are all in agreement that it is a dispositive nature. So if state loses, you dismiss. If you lose, you end up pleading, correct?
Right, and I think we already have the plea worked out, which is a reduction to DWI first probation.
Okay.
And Your Honor, that was a prior deal for the prior prosecutor that I'm honoring.
You're okay with it?
I'm honoring.
Okay. You said you had some stipulations that you want to go over.
Yes, Mr. Davenport and I have some stipulations regarding to the relevant times, just to speed up the testimony.
Okay.
And I think he's got them written down. I'm not sure if he wants to read them into the record.
You mind?
Yes, Your Honor.
Please.
At 3:40 a.m. on July 7th, the officers arrived on scene. At 3:44 a.m., the officers made contact with the defendant. At 3:46 a.m., the defendant was detained and placed in the officer's vehicle. And at 4:30, Officer Rohr begins his DWI investigation at the police station.
You said at the police station.
Yes, Your Honor.
So there's no investigation on the scene.
There is no DWI investigation on the scene.
Okay. So it's your motion.
I don't know if the state is stipulating that this was a warrantless arrest. I mean, if not, then I can just call the officers and establish that.
Your Honor, the state stipulated that it was a warrantless arrest.
Okay. All right. Ready?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
And
Floor is yours.
first witness the state calls Chad Johnson to stand.
Do you mind grabbing? Is he in the courtroom or is he outside? Please come up to the stand and raise your right hand to be sworn. Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Okay? Please mind taking a seat. If you don't mind, please speak loudly, clearly. If you hear the word objection, just stop until it's addressed and then you may continue. Okay?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, the floor is yours.
Can you please state your full name for the record?
Chad Johnston,
And what do you do for work?
employed by the Pasadena Police Department,
And how long have you been doing that for?
6 years.
Do you have any specialized training and experience for that?
That's the police academy.
Can you kind of briefly describe what that training involves?
Police academy?
Yes, just
Penal code, transportation code, CCP, DWIs, stop stack, building clearing. Basically anything that we could use on our job control.
And do you have any other experience prior to working at Pasadena Police Department?
In law
In law enforcement, yes.
Yeah.
And approximately how many DWI investigations have you had?
I'm sorry, repeat that.
Approximately how many DWI investigations have you been a part of in your career?
Hundreds.
And do you recall a particular DWI investigation you were a part of on July 7th, 2024?
So,
Specifically, how did you come to be involved in the incident we are here for today?
our dispatch received a call for service while a subject passed out at a intersection on the way.
Can you clarify what you mean by pass out?
Subject was inside his vehicle in a medium travel, asleep at the driver's wheel.
And what did you see when you got there?
Once I got there, their vehicle in the number 2 lanes for eastbound traffic on Southmore, stopped. Driver was slumped over, asleep. with loud music. We initially started with, flashing our flashlights on him, banging on the window. That was unsuccessful. It got to the point where me and my backup officer began rocking the vehicle for several minutes before, for a little while before the defendant woke up.
And did these facts at the time, did they indicate or raise your suspicions as to any particular crime that might be occurring?
Possible beat-up.
Why is that?
I mean, normally people do not fall asleep at the wheel while driving a motor vehicle, especially with their foot on the brake and vehicle still in drive. And then if someone does fall asleep, which has happened in the past, they usually wake up pretty easily and don't need officers rocking the vehicle from side to side in order to wake them up.
So you eventually woke up the defendant, correct?
Yes.
And what did you do after that?
Once I woke him up, he took his foot off the brake and rolled into my backup officer's marked patrol vehicle. Then once he was stopped in the patrol vehicle, he got him to open up the door. I turned the vehicle off and placed it in park, got him outside the vehicle.
And when you got him out of the vehicle, did you notice anything specifically about it?
I smelled a strong odor of alcoholic beverages emitting from his breath in person and he had slurred speech.
And what did you do next?
I requested a DWI task force officer come to the scene, if one was available.
And those signs that you said you observed when you made contact with the defendant, based on your training experience, what does that indicate to you?
Those are signs of intoxication.
You said you contacted a DWI officer, and after that, what did you do?
He was not available. He was occupied at bail. Due to the vehicle being in moving line of travel, I arrested the driver for impeding the flow of traffic and transported them to the jail for the traffic offense and for the DWI officer to conduct a DWI investigation.
So you said how many DWI investigations you've been a part of, but how many DWI investigations have you taken all the way through?
Very few, if I were to guess, probably less than 5.
And about how long would you say it takes you to complete a DWI investigation?
It would take me several hours.
And where was the scene in relation to the police station?
Block and a half away,
And how long did it take you to drive from the scene to the police station?
less than 5 minutes.
And can you just clarify, why did you decide to move the scene to the police station?
There are several reasons. One, it's safer to conduct the investigation in a controlled jail than it is to conduct a DWI investigation in the middle of the roadway, where anyone can come by, get hit or cause an accident, get involved in an accident. Conditions are better, flat, even jail floor as compared to roadways where they're not in the ground or anything like that. And then also, our DWI task force officer was occupied already, was unable to make the scene and what did I meet with him at the jail.
Take past the loose, John.
Hold on a second. You said when he got out of the car, he stumbled back or crashed or something?
When he woke up, he took it, the vehicle was in drive with his foot on the brake. So once he woke up from us rocking the vehicle, he took his foot off the brake and rolled into my backup officers.
So it rolled in, it actually crashed into the other car.
Yes.
Okay, all right. That's the only thing I wanted clarification. Okay,
May I proceed?
thanks.
Good morning, sir. So can you describe in general your role in this investigation?
I was the first officer on scene and I was one of the dispatch and responding officers to it.
Okay, and fair to say that he was in pretty deep sleep, right?
Sure.
And at the scene, very little time was spent with Mr. Alfaro. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Now, you said that you've done approximately 5 DWI investigations?
I'm guessing, but that's what it was.
Okay, but you've done your NHTSA training,
Yes.
and you know that the second stage of the NHTSA training is called the personal contact stage, right?
Mhm.
Do you recall what that is?
I do not.
Okay. You know that in any investigation, it's important to spend time with the person that you're investigating and try to distinguish illegal from legal behavior, right?
Absolutely.
And in kind of big picture terms, that's one of the things that the NHTSA manual teaches you how to do, right?
Mhm.
Is that yes?
Yes.
Because it's not illegal to drink and drive. It's only illegal to drink and drive while you're intoxicated, right?
I'm not necessarily, I mean, there's driving on belt and detainer and other violations as well.
Well, we can agree that in not all.
Talking about DWI, then yes, I would agree with you.
Okay. In general, not every time that somebody drinks after having consumed alcohol, not every time are they committing a crime, right?
Correct.
Okay. Now, in this case, you were dealing with somebody who was deep asleep and was roused out of sleep, right? And it wouldn't be surprising if that person exhibited things like red eyes, right?
Yes.
Yes, it would not be surprising.
It would not be surprising.
Okay. That they appeared maybe a little bit disoriented, right? And you say that his speech was slurred, but you had never met Mr. Alfaro before, so you don't know how he normally talks, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I know what slurred speech sounds like.
Okay, but would it surprise you that especially on the station where the audio is more clear, his speech doesn't appear slurred at all?
That would surprise me.
All right. So in the time that you spent with Mr. Alfaro at the scene, that wasn't enough to distinguish whether the symptoms were from alcohol intoxication, possible alcohol intoxication, or just being roused out of a deep sleep, right?
I will not know. That's why I'm arrested for DWI right there.
I understand that, but in general, after such a brief amount of time, that wouldn't necessarily be enough to convince yourself that this is just a person that I've woken out of a deep sleep, right?
With other factors, I would disagree, but I mean, there's possibility.
All right. Did you write an offense report in this case?
I wrote the supplement report.
One moment, Judge. Judge, may I confer with the prosecutor for a second? Okay, your offense report actually doesn't say anything about arresting him for impeding a roadway, does it?
My supplement does.
And Officer Rohrer, who was the lead officer in this case?
Officer Orr was the one that worked the DWI investigation.
Okay, and it was his understanding that the scene was being moved to the scene to continue the DWI investigation. Is that right?
Objection, Your Honor, speculation.
If you know.
I don't know what Officer Orr put in his report, and I'm not going to testify what was in his report.
That's the witness.
Anything further?
Yes, Your Honor. Briefly, thank you. Officer, was this a public roadway?
Yes.
And were there any other facts that you said initially that because of the defendant being asleep, you had suspicion of a DWI attention? Were there any other facts that gave rise to further suspicion of DWI in the course of your
And my whole encounter,
Yes.
there was strong with alcohol and everything from him. I spoke with him and asked him if he had anything to drink, to which he told me he had a few. So he had admitted drinking, I could smell it on him, this sort of change.
State that's what it's showing.
Nothing further, Jeff.
Someone mentioned something about an open container. Was there an open container or no?
No.
No. Okay, all right. You're excused. Subject to recall, anyone?
Subject to recall, please.
All right. If you don't mind, please just waiting outside the jury. Okay, state any other witnesses?
Yes, Your Honor. State calls Brian Roy to stand.
Okay. Do you mind grabbing reputation?
All right, with that, stop being sworn in.
All right. Deputy Roy, if you don't mind coming up to the witness stand and raising your right hand.
Sir,
You solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
yes, I do.
All right, please do take a seat. If you don't mind, speak loudly, clearly. If you hear the word objection, just stop until we address it, and then you may continue. Okay? All right. Sit, please.
Thank you, Your Honor. Can you please state your full name for the record?
Brian Earl,
And what did you do for it?
Blue House,
How long you did that for?
about 4 years now.
And do you have to have any specialized training to do that?
Yes, sir.
Can you briefly describe that training?
The basic police officer's course is about 9 months of specialized training as mandated by TPOL, as well as a federal RDW task force as well, which is further specialized training.
And what kind of specialized training do you have to have to be part of the unit?
To be part of our EWI task force, you have to have basic SSE, standard skills sobriety tests. You also would highly encourage you to take a ride course, as well as you have to get certified as a drug recognition expert in 1 year posting.
And how long have you been a part of the DWI task force specifically?
About a year and a half.
And over what years, one as a police officer, how many DWI investigations have you been involved with?
Yeah, at this point, probably over to 150.
And generally speaking, everyone's different, but how long does it take you to complete a DWI investigation?
Generally about 2 to 3 hours.
And do you remember, do you recall the incident that we're here for today that occurred on July 7th, 2024?
Yes, I would.
And can you explain how you became involved with this?
With a call service, officers went out, found reasonable people stopped in the roadway. They had reasonable conceit to believe a WI investigation needed to take place. I couldn't make it out to the scene, so the subject was actually transported up to our impound room to me.
And upon contact with the defendant, what did you notice?
I was, eyes were red, also detected odor of alcohol beverages and some sort of.
And what did you do next?
Next was going into the other blind investigation, which would be Maria's questioning and then sobriety tests.
Do you recall the specifics of your investigation as far as the center responsibility test?
As far as the specifics in clues specifically for the assessing.
Generally, yes. If I were to ask you about the clues that he exhibited, would you recall that?
I would probably have to reference the reporting.
So you just have one moment, Your Honor. Sure. Please do. First witness, Your Honor.
Yes.
You recognize, go ahead.
Yes, I do. And it's my original voice from the United States. Would like to refresh your recollection.
Officers, your recollection, refresh.
Yes.
So you made contact with the defendant and you said you began to carry out your investigation.
I'm sorry, say that again.
You made contact with the defendant and you began to carry out your investigation. What was the first step in that process?
So we. Excuse me, I'm sorry. First step of the process would be an interview of the subject.
And what did you learn from that interview? Okay, we're going to skip that. We're going to go to the standardized field sobriety test. What was the first standardized field sobriety test you carried out?
The horizontal gaze assessment test.
Okay, and what is that test?
That test checks for the involuntary tripping of the eyes.
And what were the results of that test?
The result of that were 6 out of 6 validated groups.
What are those 6 clues?
The first one is a lack of smooth pursuit. Then following that is a distinct and sustained nystagmus to maximum deviation, and then the onset of nystagmus prior to 45 degrees.
And it's fair to say that he hit all 6 of those clues.
That is correct.
And what does that indicate to you?
That would indicate the presence of a substance in this.
Would that indicate alcohol, potential presence of alcohol in the defendant's system?
Yes.
And what did you do next?
Next was the walk and turn test.
Okay. And what is the walk and turn test?
The walk and turn test is one of the psychophysical tests, where it splits the subject's mental and physical capabilities to possibly give a intoxicated individual would have difficulty splitting those.
And what were the results of this test that you did?
On this test, I observed 2 out of 8 validated groups.
And what did you do next?
Next was the one-leg stand test.
Great. And what is the one leg stand?
Again, it's another psychophysical test. Testing the subject's ability to count while balancing on one leg.
And what were the results of this test?
On this test, I observed 0 of 4 validated groups.
And what did you do after that?
After that would be reading the subject EIC 24.
Based on the totality of the circumstances, were you able to form an opinion on whether or not the defendant was intoxicated?
Based on the totality of circumstances and the results of my investigation, I did form an opinion that he was intoxicated and had lost the mental and physical capabilities required to safely operate a motor.
State best the witness, Your Honor.
May I proceed, Judge? Good afternoon, sir. Or good morning, I should say. You wrote in your report that Mr. Alfaro was transported to the Pasadena jail for further investigation after he was detained at the scene. Is that right?
That is correct.
Okay, so it was your understanding that he was transported to continue the EWI investigation, correct?
That would be my part of the investigation, yes, sir.
Okay, he wasn't under arrest or anything else as far as you were aware of?
As far as I know, when he was transported, he was placed under arrest for traffic offense.
All right. Now, you mentioned that it takes 2 to 3 hours to complete a DWI investigation. Can you break down exactly what goes into that?
So in those 2 to 3 hours in that estimation, I would be including initial contact of the subject, interview, observation, or possible interview of initiating officer, my interview with the subject, the SFSTs, as well as the collection of a forensic specimen and typing the report.
Okay, but really, when you're talking about an arrest, the relevant portion is usually much shorter than that, right?
That is correct.
So you're talking about maybe the personal contact stage and then the pre-arrest screening stage, right?
I'm sorry, I don't understand the question.
Well, I mean, the point at which you get enough evidence to confirm that somebody's intoxicated or disconfirm that somebody's intoxicated is much, much shorter than 2 to 3 hours, right?
Yes,
Because that takes into account booking procedures and things like that, right?
correct.
Okay. Now, this wasn't a situation where there was an emergency going on, right?
No,
Okay. Even though you're the more experienced officer, Officer Johnson is actually certified to administer field sobriety tests and has done so in the past, correct?
that is correct.
Okay. There wasn't a language barrier or anything like that, right?
Not to my knowledge.
And in fact, the intersection where this all happened, I mean, there were parking lots, drugstore parking lots, places where DWI investigations are sometimes conducted, right?
Yes,
Okay. So, in other words, there was nothing to stop the DWI investigation from being conducted where it was there at the scene of the incident. Nothing that you can point to, is there?
as far as the performance of SMS schemes, no.
So what was the reason for moving this investigation to the jail?
To bring him to a member of our DWI task force who is better suited to performance of the SFSDs and to provide a space more conducive to performance of the SFSDs.
Okay, but if you had wanted to, it could have been this, or if, not you personally, but if law enforcement in this case had wanted to, this investigation could have been pursued more diligently.
Objection, Your Honor, speculation.
If there's a lot of sufficient space in a safe place, that again has sufficient space and level ground to perform the SFSDs, i.e. a space and level service more conducive to performing the SFSDs safely, then yes, it can be.
So it could have been done more diligently, correct?
It could have been possibly performed by the officer on scene.
Okay. Pass the witness.
Officer, approximately how long did this investigation take you?
This investigation, in terms of interview and arriving at a decision of intoxication, I would say approximately 40 minutes.
And typically, are DWI investigations faster or slower if you or another member of the DWI task force conducts the investigation, rather than a member of patrol unit?
It is significantly faster.
State passability, Your Honor.
Nothing further, Judge.
All right, witness may be excused. All right, thank you, sir. State anything further?
Just arguing, Your Honor.
Okay,
Judge,
so hold on. You rest?
Yes, Your Honor, state this.
I'm going to admit a thumb drive with 2 body cameras and then the scene body camera. And I'm not going to publish this right now. I'm going to offer it
Okay.
as a part of the record. And I don't have anything to stick it with, but we can call this Defense Exhibit 1.
Have you seen this? Do you know what it is? State. And do you have an objection?
I mean, it's just body cam from the scene, we were in Your Honor.
Okay,
That should be.
all right. It'll be admitted. Defense 1?
Defense 1, Judge.
Okay.
And with that, we rest.
Okay. Argument.
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, the state offers 3 arguments here. First is that clearly under the traffic code, Officer Johnson had probable cause to arrest the defendant at the scene for the traffic violation. Upon arrival, the officer could clearly see that the defendant was parked in a moving lane of traffic in violation of traffic code section 545-363 and 545-1302. That arrest is clearly authorized under traffic code section 543.001. And after that arrest, once the officer had transported the defendant, then a separate DWI investigation took place, which is clearly legal and proper and does not violate any of the defendant's Fourth Amendment rights. And the alternative, Your Honor, the state would also show that the officer articulated sufficient facts to rise to at least reasonable suspicion that the offense of driving while intoxicated had occurred. The defendant displayed a strong odor of alcoholic beverages, was asleep in his vehicle, and took significant effort to wake up from the officers. Also, the time of night was indicative, and the other facts that the officers suggested, such as slurred speech and the other surrounding circumstances. Furthermore, moving the investigation to the police station and subsequent time it took to move the investigation. Furthermore, moving the investigation to the police station and the subsequent time it took to move the investigation was reasonable under the circumstances and served a legitimate law enforcement purpose. That purpose was to give the DWI investigation to an officer that would be more efficient at running the investigation. This purpose, this is supported by prior case law in Belcher v. State, where, Your Honor, the Court of Appeals out of Fort Worth found that a 30 to 35 minute prolongment was reasonable under the circumstances for the express purpose of the officer handing the DWI investigation over to a specific DWI officer for the purpose of efficiency. Furthermore, Your Honor, the state in the alternative to that argument would also go to show that probable cause existed at the scene due to the totality of the circumstances and the signs of intoxication and the clear operational facts that the officer had at the scene rose to the level of probable cause for the officer to arrest the defendant for the crime, for the offense of driving while intoxicated.
Can you come up real quick, Blaze? Come up. Mr. Davin, come up. Sure, on the record. Okay. As a lawyer, as a person who just works in general, I really take pride in what we do. You know, when we do stuff, we come prepared. This is not a joke, man. This dude that just came and testified now was a deer in headlights when you asked about the interview. Completely and wholly unprepared in every single way. So I don't give any credence to that testimony right there whatsoever. I mean, it's like, how are you going to come? This is not a joke. You know, we take this completely serious. You know, you come here, you can't even recite what happened. You can't even take 5 minutes to look at the damn report. You know, really. So that, no credence whatsoever. So what I'm going to do now is I'll take a look at the facts surrounding what happened on the scene, and I'm going to make a decision and see whether we go forward or not. But I'm floored how you're just going to come in and just kind of, here, let me just, you know, really, it's not a joke. It's a life on the line here. And I really take it seriously. And I'm just offended by it. So anyway, I don't need it.
All right.
Let me just take a look. I want to see that real quick. And then I'll have a decision here within a couple hours. Okay?
All right. Thanks.
All right.
Thank you, Judge.
Thanks.
May we be excused?
Please.
Right.
All right, lawyers, let's go. Just don't, just, it is what it is. You know, it just.
If you found this video informative, please like, subscribe, and turn on the bell icon so you never miss the latest courtroom hearings, legal updates, and case analysis.